Have you ever imagined your favorite cartoon animals as humans? We know we have. They are often so helpful to the main characters in films and play a vital role in every movie, but have very few speaking lines. Wouldn't you like to see what some of your favorite characters would look like in human form? Well, these artists have done just that, and you won't believe what Pegasus looks like as a person. If you are new here, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe for more. Now, here are 10 cartoon animals reimagined as people. Simba. Everyone loves Disney movies. We all grew up with them. They are so much more than just stories and ways to pass the time. Disney movies teach life lessons and character traits that will help children way past childhood. The Lion King is definitely one of those movies that teach a greater lesson than the storyline of the film. The movie follows Simba on his journey to be king. As a small cub, Simba gets himself into trouble but knows that his father Mufasa will always be there to save him whenever times get rough. Unfortunately, this time Mufasa passes away in the process of trying to save his son. Simba then runs away from the rest of his family, not wanting anyone to find out what happened to his father. The film follows his journey back to the throne. Artist Selena decided to draw Simba as a human. In the photo, she managed to retain Simba's strong features. She kept his mane wild like a lion as well. The main thing about Simba's lion character is that he exudes a certain kind of pride and confidence. When the artist was drawing him as a human, it was important that she keeps those characteristics intact. We think that she did an amazing job. Kala and Kerchak of Tarzan. Disney movies aren't always about princesses being whisked away by handsome princes. Sometimes the stories are a bit wilder and grimmer. The story of Tarzan starts off on quite a sad note. In the beginning of the film, we see gorillas Kala and Kerchak playing with their small son. Unfortunately, he wanders away from his family to play. While out, he encounters the predator, Saber. Saber begins to hunt him and the baby screams. His parents wake up and begin to race towards the sounds of his screams. They realize that they won't be able to save their son and have to turn back. Though this was an extremely sad scene, it opened the door for Tarzan to come in. How might you ask? Well, when Kala heard another baby screaming and being hunted by Saber, she ran to save it. That baby was Tarzan. Deviant art artist Selena redrew the two characters as humans. She says that she was largely inspired by the Broadway musical version of the film because Kerchak was her favorite character in the musical. Doesn't Kala just look extremely nurturing in this photo? And even as humans, it's clear that Kerchak loves his wife by the way he is looking at her. Nick and Judy of Zootopia. Disney uses their films to reveal some deeper truth or meaning about society. Zootopia is definitely one of those films. The movie takes place in a land where everyone is an animal. Back in the old days, predators were thought to be evil from birth, but after a while, they were able to evolve and live peacefully with the vegetarian animals. In the city of Zootopia, there had been a recent outbreak of predators turning violent again. Fresh out of the police academy, young Judy decides to move to Zootopia to join the police force and fight bad guys. Because she is from such a small town, her parents fear for her safety as she moves to the big city. Once she gets there, no one takes her seriously because she is just a small bunny. Artist Selena also drew Judy and her companion Nick as humans. We love how spot on this depiction is. Even as a human, Selena was able to make Judy look just as innocent as she did in the film. Just look at her. She seems so eager to help. Nick, on the other hand, still retains the slyness of a fox, even as a human. Without even being told who these characters represented, you could guess who they were just by looking at the photo. Amazing! Aristocats. How many of you have pets? For most people, these funny little creatures are the love of their lives. Pets tend to be like babies to their owners. You love them more than you love some people. So when the talented opera singer in Aristocats said that her entire fortune was to be left to her cats once she died, no one thought it was strange. The problem was that she also mentioned that once her cats died, her fortune could go to her butler Edgar. Edgar heard this and soon began to plot to get rid of the cats. The cats are then stranded somewhere outside of Paris. Luckily, Duchess and her 3 kittens, Marie, Berlioz, and Toulouse, meet a sly alley cat named Thomas O'Malley, who offers to help them get back to Paris. During the long and stressful journey, Duchess and Thomas begin to fall in love. Artist Selena drew the two as humans. She said that this picture was actually very hard to do because Thomas O'Malley is such a bulky character. She also said that she would have liked to have drawn Duchess with different hair, but had to stick with the 1910s look. We think that she was able to make the human forms of these Disney's cats look almost exactly like their animal forms. Even their hair turns out perfect. What do you think? Lady and the Tramp. The film Lady and the Tramp provides a new take on the age-old boy meets girl story. After all, it's more like hound meets hound in this case. The film centers around Lady, who comes from a loving home. But one weekend, her owners decide to go out of town and leave Lady and the baby at home with Aunt Sarah and her 2 cats. Lady eventually runs away from Aunt Sarah after the woman tries to put a muzzle on her, and she runs into Tramp. Selena drew these 2 dogs as humans, and we love how she kept their personalities, even as people. Tramp still looks sly and cunning, and Lady still looks innocent. We wonder how the story would have played out if the 2 had been human. Is it easier to fall in love as a dog? Probably not. Either way, this scene from the film is extremely iconic. It was very bold of Selena to pick this particular portion of the movie to redo, but we think she did an amazing job and really made it her own. We would love to see other scenes in this movie remade like this. What would the rest of the characters look like as humans? However, it might be kind of weird for Lady and the Tramp to be kept as pets in this form though. Bolt. What would it be like if you had superpowers? What would you do? Well, Bolt believed that he had superpowers. He thought that he had a supersonic bark and that he was able to stop villains in their tracks. Unfortunately, none of that was real. The world that Bolt thought that he lived in was actually just the set of a television show. So when he thinks that his owner Penny has been kidnapped by a supervillain, he runs off the set and escapes to go find Penny. From there, he meets Mittens, a cat who he believes is working for his nemesis. He forces her to help him find Penny. Through a series of adventures and sticky situations, Bolt and Mittens eventually make it back to Bolt's home. DeviantArt artist Selena took a chance drawing Bolt as if he were human. His hair is the telltale giveaway that the character is Bolt. We think she did a great job. Even his expression looks as excited and naive as the dog's often does. We wonder if human Bolt would also have believed that he had superpowers, or if he would have been a tad bit smarter than his puppy self. Either way, we love Bolt and his innocence in puppy and human form. Pegasus. Greek tales are always great stories to be turned into Disney movies. They always picture a hero rising up over his or her circumstance, and they usually teach a valuable lesson. We all know how Disney loves a good lesson, don't we? Well, Hercules is no different. The film follows Hercules as he falls down from grace and works his way back up. As a baby, Hercules was a god, but after some trickery, he lost his divinity but was able to keep his godlike strength. Because he was no longer a god, he could not live with them. So he and his faithful horse Pegasus were sent to live on the earth. Pegasus followed along as Hercules discovered his possible origins and worked hard to become a hero. The magical flying horse was beside Hercules every step of the way and is sort of an unsung hero of the entire film. Artist Selena must have felt this way too, because she took the time to reimagine Pegasus as a human. In the photo, he looks like somewhat of a Greek god on his own. He also has that smart, mischievous look in his eyes that he always had as a horse. Horses do not often have very notable roles in films. Usually, they are just a mode of transportation. But by drawing this character as a human, we see that there was so much more to him than what meets the eye. Pegasus now looks like he has his own personality. Sebastian. Oftentimes in Disney movies, the sidekick does more for the storyline than the main character. The main person in the film is often oblivious to what is going on and needs their sidekick to give them a push in the right direction. This was always the relationship with Sebastian and Ariel in The Little Mermaid. Ariel was naive and believed that love would always win in the end. Sebastian was always there to make sure that Ariel was safe and taken care of. He was one of our favorite characters in the film. That is why we're so excited when we saw that this artist had taken the time to draw him as a human. It seems like Sebastian would be hard to draw as a human, considering that he is red and has way more legs than any person should. But this artist managed to do an amazing job. They left his skin with a reddish tint that makes him resemble the crab version of himself, but not look too creepy. They also used his hair to make up for some of the extra legs. We think it turned out amazing. Just by looking at the photo, you can easily tell that it's a rendition of Sebastian. When you can immediately recognize what the artist was going for, then you know they have done a fantastic job. Hyenas from The Lion King. Depending on who you are, the hyenas from The Lion King may not have been the most memorable characters. In a way, they were villains. They follow Scar around and do a lot of his work, but they are also a bit stupid. They can't think for themselves, which makes them a bit lovable at the same time. The scenes between the three of them are always hilarious, but whenever they come into contact with Simba or other young lions, they immediately become frightening. Artist Pagletto said that she was getting frustrated with how others were interpreting the characters from The Lion King, so she thought she would give it a shot. This photo of the hyenas is the result of her mission. This picture shows the hyenas in a whole new light. The artist has a degree in animation, which makes sense after seeing some of the amazing drawings that she's been able to do. After completing her interpretation of The Lion King, they received such an amazing response that she felt that she should keep going with other cartoons as well. Scar. Sometimes in films, the villain is just a villain. There is no more to them than meets the eye. Other times, you may have a villain who has a troubled past that allows you to see why they might act the way they do. Scar falls into the first category. He is just plain evil. So much so that he gets rid of his own brother with absolutely no remorse. After the tragic event, he then blames the incident on his young nephew and causes him to run away from home. What could be meaner than that? Artist Pagletto kept all of these evil deeds in mind when she decided to draw Scar as a human. She kept the facial structure the same and even included Scar's signature slanted eyes. The artist said that when drawing the characters, she kept in mind their location, skin palette, and time period. She wanted to make sure her drawings were more ethnically diverse than the ones that we usually see. She told BuzzFeed that she tries not to be so typical about her drawings, but wants to make sure that they keep the same structure and angles as their animal photos. We think she did a great job. That's it for 10 cartoon animals reimagined as people. What did you think? Were you surprised by how Scar looked? Have you seen any other amazing photos that you want to be included? Tell us in the comments.